As some of you will know, Gordon earned himself a surprise souvenir while filming a story on loans last week.
I'm a reporter with TVNZ Fairgo. Hey! It is public and that's not your property. Three gentlemen approached us. One of the gentlemen hit me 3 times.
We'll show you what happened shortly, but first, the story I was there to do. Loan sharking, fringe lending, payday loans, whatever you call it, there is a frighteningly big chunk of Kiwis who use these outfits.
Tonight we have a disturbing example of a loan that we think should never have been offered or accepted.
But we begin with the future, with kids who we hope will never get in over their heads.
Yeah, credit can be really good, but if you don't know how to manage it, it's very dangerous. And sometimes people have to even sell their home to pay off a debt.
Credit cards are honestly a major responsibility. What if you lose it? Like, I've lost quite a lot of my library cards. Interest at 22%.
I reckon the kids of Room 2 at Churchill Park School are very unlikely to make a future appearance on Fairgo.
That's way more than $400.
They're learning financial literacy from information provided by the Credit Finance Institute.
These kids have blown me away. They know more now than some people learn in a lifetime. Shame they weren't around to give advice to the guy you're going to meet next.
All right, Gordon from Fairgo here, mate. I've come.
Or the bloke you're not about to meet, as it turns out. He didn't show.
Well, this is a weird one. I mean, I'm used to people avoiding me on Fairgo, but generally not the people I'm trying to help.
Let's call him Thomas, because financially he is a train wreck. He bought this car with a loan. It was for $8,000 at 30%. Yes, 30%. Over 3 years, he would pay $13,000 for a car that was $8,000 cash.
Car yard finance company gives high interest loan. Well, shock horror. Where's the story in that? Well, here's the story. It's a letter from the car yard. We think this letter makes the loan seem disturbing.
In it, the car yard says Thomas has a Vita score that's a credit rating of 36 out of 1,000. That is a seriously low score for a person of any age, let alone a 21-year-old. He's also had thousands in payment defaults.
A Vita score is a statistical model.
Vita analyses your credit history.
So that we can actually then deliver a score that will say, yes, this person is a good risk, a moderate risk or a bad risk.
This mock-up report is what a Vita score looks like, but what does a 36 out of 1,000 score actually mean?
It means not good is the headline, and a high probability that he or she would default pretty early on any loan.
Now, John, what do you make of an $8,000 loan at 30% to a bloke with a 36 out of 1,000 Vita score?
Well, I'm astounded. Number one, they should never have been granted credit. Why would you do it? This is crazy. If that same person had gone to one of the major banks or one of the major finance companies, there's no way they would have actually received that loan. I mean, their own credit application systems would have declined that with that sort of score instantly.
As a credit professional, what do you feel about that loan?
Well, I think it's absolutely irresponsible.
I've put this loan scenario to various experts. The reactions range from amazed to disgusted. What responsible lender would make a loan like this?
The answer is these guys, Mount Autos and Mac Warranties in Mount Maunganui.
Why did you say Kenny Rudolph's car was an $800 wreck before you sold it for $7,000, Mr. Spears?
That is Alan Spears, the boss of both companies, not talking to me back in February. The story then was repossessing cars, paying hundreds and reselling for thousands.
What do you think about that, Alan?
If a loan defaults or fails, Mac Warranties repos the car and it's sold again by Mount Autos. The original borrower doesn't have a car, but still owes money. It's a win for Mount Autos, they sell the car again, and it's a win for Mac Warranties. They still collect on the old loan because it was for more than the repo value of the car. But it's not just Mac Warranties, it's not just car yards. The ladies at Tauranga Budget Advice see people with loans of all description they simply can't afford.
They're so keen to get the goods that they just sign up for the contract and they have no idea what it's going to cost them.
What does it make you feel when you see these problems come in?
It makes me feel cross and frustrated because it wouldn't have taken long for that finance person to sit there and say, do you realise that if you don't pay me, I can come and get your goods?
Now, sadly, a lot of the fringe lenders are charging extortionate interest rates. They're using the information which clearly says don't give this loan, yet they still choose to give it.
They'll get in debt, they'll have interest, the bank will fine them, and everything just ends up turning to custody.
Sage advice indeed. So the last word goes to our kids from Churchill Park School.
Be careful, kids!
Now, I know you want to know how this happened, but some background first. In May, Mack Warranties and Mount Autos were raided by the Commerce Commission. It's investigating cars being repoed low and resold high.
It's the second time it's investigated Mack Warranties. 2 years ago, a formal warning was issued about the fees it charged.
Now, funnily enough, Mack Warranties haven't replied to questions I sent on Friday, so it's only fair to say they don't force anyone to take their high-interest loans, and their customers often can't get credit elsewhere.
Which is a pretty good description for the guy who said he'd talk to you and then never turned up. What happened there?
Well, he's been able to walk away from the loan. There was a guarantor on the loan. It was his 19-year-old ex-girlfriend, the mother of his child. Now, her sickness beneficiary mother has now taken over the loan to protect her daughter's credit record.
And we got the car valued for her just this morning, $3,000 to $4,000. The Mack Warranties loan balance is already up to nearly $14,000. All right, Gordon, you better walk us through what happened to you.
Well, we just got out of the car to film from the footpath when three men approached us, and without any warning, this happened. Public property, mate, so... Hey, take your hand!
At this point, I was punched 3 times.
You live down here?
Maybe? What's the problem?
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, so? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, because you're just a low-life like you got to sneak around, jumping on people. Hey?
Well, you're the one that just punched us in the head, mate. You just punched us in the head 3 times.
Oh, I don't give a like to see you punch me too.
Well, we didn't punch you, though.
So it's a wonder you don't get more sorted, eh?
We didn't punch you, did we?
You're still recording?
Yeah, I am.
So he had another go at the camera.
We're on public property. So... Hey! It is public and that's not your property. It is public property and that is not yours, pal. We are on public property.
Been filming this.
Doesn't matter.
We are on public property. You are assaulting us and attempting to steal somebody else's property. So just chill out, mate. Yes, I can. Yes, so I'm a reporter with TVNZ fairgo. And we just got our equipment out of the vehicle because we're going to be doing some filming outside this premises from public property. Well, we've just been trying to do some filming here outside Mount Auto Court. The people there objected very strongly, tried to take the camera. I've taken 3 punches to the face, as you can see, and the police are now investigating. A 47-year-old company director is in Tauranga Court tomorrow morning on 2 charges, assault and intentional damage to the camera, not my face. We've chosen not to name him tonight. And I'd just like to say thank you very much for the really rather embarrassing and astonishing amount of messages of support that I've had.
A wealth of support for Gordon, thank you. Right, events have overtaken this story, but we planned it in the first place because the government is holding a summit on responsible lending next week. Gordon talked to Consumer Affairs Minister Simon Power.
Simon Power is leaving politics after this election but says he wants to tick off action on irresponsible lending before he goes.
And where people who are unscrupulous are going after vulnerable communities, I still think in my time left in politics there's work to be done in that area.
Now, this possibly isn't the angle you'd expect from fairgo, but do you acknowledge that these fringe lenders, for want of a better description, do provide a service to people who otherwise can't access credit?
Yes, that's true. Those consenting adults who enter into a contractual arrangement where the terms are agreed and fair, I don't have a problem with that, and nor will the government. Where the terms are oppressive or hidden or not disclosed, or for that matter deliberately construed in a way that could be interpreted differently to what they actually are, that is unscrupulous, and the government's not going to stand by and let that type of lending continue.
Labor MP Carol Beaumont put up a responsible lending bill last year, including a cap on lending rates. The government killed it at the first opportunity, but this is election year and the issue is not going away. Caps on lending rates, 48% cap in New South Wales, Queensland, ACT. I take it you've looked at those examples.
I have had that information put in front of me. I've asked for more information on the Australian states regimes just this morning. And I intend to look at that pretty thoroughly before we meet with the communities involved in early August.
Because obviously a cap on interest rates, not without a figure, was central to the Carol Beaumont bill that your government killed last year. Why didn't you at least let that go to Select Committee?
Well, I think that the reason being that we were concerned that it was a well-intentioned bill, but it was only one part of a broader piece of work that needed to be done. Since I've become the Minister of Consumer Affairs in recent months, that's gone to the top of my list of priorities.
Do you really have any meaningful tools to try and control this stuff, though? Are there any tools that will actually work without driving people into the arms of truly unscrupulous lenders?
Yes, I believe there are, and we've looked at non-legislative options in this area for some time. But the truth is, the more I've looked at it, and as I said to a Parliamentary Select Committee in recent weeks, the more I'm coming to the view that legislation is going to be necessary in this area.